that's a show I had going on. Hey, what's up, y'all? I'm over here playing. I'm over here still getting stuff going on behind the scene. Over here playing some Steely Dan. Dancing is true. I run to you. Man, I was bumping that Asia, boy. I love that album. Anyway, welcome everybody. We're going to have a talk today, and I'm not going to be on here long. I'm not going to do a long show today because I got a few meetings afterwards. And I got this jive-ass roofer that's putting a new roof on one of my apartment buildings. And it seems like every goddamn 15 minutes is some new shit. Sloppy, messing up one of my tennis units. This motherfucker using our power instead of his own generator. Just the most hood operation ever. And he ain't black. When I say hood, he ain't black. He's not black at all. It's like I think I don't know what part of Asia he's from, but we hired the wrong motherfucker. Put it like that. So I got a lot of that stuff going on right now. So I won't be all day. But what I do want to talk about, and welcome everybody in the chat. Thank y'all all for joining. Thank everybody in the chat for joining. I'm not going to go all through all y'all individually because I do want to make this a quicker show than a lot of times I would. We'll go to bamfamilytree.org. Become a sustaining monthly donor. You know. Also go to incenseandashtrays.com. New article up on Robert Glasper at the Blue Note, the gold standard of live music. Go and check that article out right now, along with some video clips from the Blue Note, with Robert Glasper's show. But I do want to talk about. Oh yeah, also, so I'm going to say this: salute to Michigan, the University of Michigan, for winning the national championship. I'm glad to see them win because that was one of the college. If you know college basketball now, that there's money in it. They're bringing in Europeans, professional Europeans in their mid-20s to play college ball. And a lot of our Black American children are getting X'd out of the system. So the University of Michigan won last night with college-age foundational Black American youth, and they won the national championship. So salute to Michigan for still winning in spite of the system trying to wipe Black Americans out of the sport. And also salute to Glenn Rice, because Glenn Rice was the last one to cut down the nets for the University of Michigan. And when he did that, do y'all know that he was smashing Sarah Palin? Yeah, the Sarah Palin that ran with John McCain for vice president in 2008, Miss Christian Conservative, Mrs. Family Values. When Glenn Rice in Michigan was out there for the Great Alaska Shootout, he was getting it in with the future former vice presidential candidate. Yeah. So salute to Glenn Rice. Salute to Glenn Rice. And that's how it always works. That's how it always works. You brothers that go around getting with them white girls in college, they turn out to be the most racist ass conservative women you'll meet by the time they get to their mid-40s. So salute to Glenn Rice for getting in and getting out. You dig what I'm saying? What the why does it keep playing that video? Let me see here. I don't want every time I switch back to this scene, it does that shit. I don't want that. There we go. I think I got it fixed. Hopefully I got it fixed. go. Get that out of here. All right, cool. So yeah, this nigga. it's always gonna be, niggas are funny, dog. But yeah, so let's talk about it. I got inspiration for this live. I watched Voodoo Doll TV yesterday, and she was talking about how they get us focused in on just one thing, and it makes you ignore everything else. And that's something I've been saying. I was so glad to hear her say it. She said she didn't say it the way I said it. She said it in her own way, but it was refreshing to hear some a fresh spin on that, a fresh direction on that point of view, because I've been holding that point of view down probably since, like, I remember probably starting in high school when I started learning more about things. Like, why would we just keep it, like, for instance, when we talk about slavery, whenever Black Americans talk about the times of slavery, we always talk about something, and we was enslaved, and the slaves built the land. The slaves built the land. You hear all the time, the slaves built the land. The slave. I'm like, yeah, but if you keep only saying the slaves built the land, you know what people are going to do in their minds? Well, just because I work in my job don't mean I'm entitled to the CEO's benefits. That's how people think about their own jobs. You got to, people, Black folks don't realize people establish their worldview on what you're saying. Nobody hears what you're saying. Everything you say gets interpreted through their worldview. And so the next question is, okay, are the Mexicans picking the bananas? Should they get paid as much as a person who owns a banana company? And the people are going to say no. But that's what happens when you keep slavery only on we were slaves and we built the land. No. You got to expand the conversation. You got to say, not only did we build the land, we were the genius. We were the ones that were creating how to farming systems. Thank you, George Washington Carver. Pro-slavery. Thank you, Benjamin Banneker, during the time with his Farmer's Almanac. We were making the inventions. We invented the cotton gin, which had a cause and effect relationship of making cotton more efficient out of America than anywhere else in the world, because America could process cotton 100 times the rate of anybody else because of an invention that we invented. We invented the doorknob. We invented the elevator closing. So now we can now we can build high rises because of what we did with the elevator. America could expand its industry because we invented the refrigerated truck. We got to talk about it like that. It can't just be pick the cotton. No, we picked the cotton and we innovated. Our genius made it to where the cotton picking was more efficient than anywhere else in the world. You know what I mean? We got to also talk about how during the time of slavery, we built, even if you weren't enslaved and if you were Black and you were free, you had things like you had to buy freedom papers. And in places like Cincinnati, Ohio, your freedom papers will cost you $500 a year in 1812. A lot of you niggas can't pay $500 a year now for something. Imagine having to pay $500 a year in 1812. Imagine how much money a Black man had to make and a Black woman had to make to be able to pay $500 a year in 1812. Imagine that. So even the ones that were free were still under this oppressive society. We got to expand the conversation. It can't just be we picked the cotton, even though we did pick the cotton. We were also the geniuses. We were also the ones who the cowboys. We were the ones who came up with the steering. What do you call that? When they wrote the cow, the bull, Bill Pickett. We were the mind of America too. We were the mind of America. You can't just stay focused on picking cotton because everyone's going to relate that to their job. We got to expand the conversation. And Voodoo Doll on her show yesterday, she did a masterful job of expanding the conversation, which is where we need to be. And one part where she expanded it to was talking about all the Black towns that were burnt down, and not just burned down, reclassified. I'll tell you exactly. I was picking up rent in one of my places And right when she said that, I'm gonna show you the screen, the pictures that I took. Because as I'm listening to her YouTube, I'm driving past Alondra Park. Alondra Park is a place that's here in LA in the South Bay area where there was a black man that bought the 220 acres that's now Alondra Park / El Camino College. And they took his land through eminent domain. This black man purchased this land, and he was going to build a black middle class neighborhood right here. For those of you who know where Chuck E. Cheese is here on Redondo Beach Boulevard and Prairie, y'all know where that golf course is? They took this black man's land and turned it into a golf course in El Camino College. All this land you see right here, if you're ever driving through the South Bay, right when you get off the 405 freeway, Redondo Beach Boulevard. Redondo Beach Boulevard, when you keep going east, it turns into Compton Boulevard. Or is it Alondra? I forgot. And I knew about this, and she brought that up just as I was making this drive. And I was like, okay, that's what I got to talk about tomorrow. She's bringing this up like right when I'm driving past this land that was stolen through eminent domain. We have to understand we're going through gentrification right now nationwide. We're going through nationwide gentrification. This nationwide gentrification that we're going through right now is a more humane way of doing the same stuff that they've always done to us. So what I'm going to do is, we're about to do today a broadcast on different lands that were seized and stolen here in the city of LA from black people. Yeah, I saw Roland Martin talking. I'll probably talk about Roland Martin later, but this is more important right now. I like to educate, unlike Roland Martin. I like to spend some of my time doing educational videos. And these educational videos aren't the best for the algorithm. You know what I mean? People don't really like coming for these educational videos. But educational videos are a must because our people need to be educated as to what's going on. And I'm not going to do it in a fake ass Roland Martin way where I give you bad sources and leave out 2/3 of the information like that sucker did when he tried to go talk about history and leave out how Henry Wallace was taken out for the Democrat Party. So let's get into it. I appreciate everybody for being in here. Yes, Alondra. Yeah, it turns into Alondra. Redondo Beach Boulevard turns into Alondra. Thank you. Thank you, James. Yeah. So, what's up, Truth Seeker? So let's go in and talk about this. All right, let's go in and talk about this. Today I will be pulling out the map. I know a lot of y'all like when I do my map shows. Be pulling out the maps today. And today we're going to start today's broadcast at the beach. Okay. Then we're going to go east. Oh, mind you, this is the land area I was telling y'all about. This part right here, this was the landmass that the brother, I'm drawing a blank to his name. Let me look it up real quick because I don't want to keep saying the brother. Because I remember hearing a story years ago. No, not the Bruce Beach motherfucker. Yeah, Wilbur Gordon. That's what his name. Dr. Wilbur C. Gordon. And this was done in 1925, 100 years ago. Y'all about to find out how black LA really is today. But his name is Dr. Wilbur Gordon. He bought this whole parcel of land. And he was going to turn this into a black middle class subdivision. because you know LA is very segregated. It always has been segregated. So this was supposed to be a black middle class subdivision. And they took this land through eminent domain 100 years ago. So anytime you're going down Redondo Beach Boulevard towards the beach under the 405 freeway, understand that you're going past stolen black land. Yeah, no, Redondo Beach turns into Compton. I thought I knew I was right. Redondo Beach Boulevard turns into Compton. Yeah, I thought I was right. Compton Boulevard, right. Because Artesia goes all the way through. Yeah, Redondo Beach Boulevard turns into Compton Boulevard and the Compton Courthouse. So you can take this street from the Compton Courthouse and then you'll be at this area that I'm telling you about in about a 10-minute drive. It takes about 10 or 15, probably about 15-minute drive, 10 or 15-minute drive to get from the Compton Courthouse to Alondra Park, El Camino College. So that was one area that was taken from us. But do y'all know that most of the beach was built by black people? Yes, that's right, Des. When we study how policies hurt Black California, you got to understand that this is the blueprint for the rest of us. That's the reason. Another reason I'm having today's show is because what happens in California happens nationwide. It comes to you too. California is just the beta test. So it's best that you understand what happens in California so you understand what's coming to you next. But oftentimes y'all hear about Bruce's Beach. You all heard about Bruce's Beach, how this was taken from black folks, and then California, the liberals did some shit to make it seem as if they gave it back to the people, only to give it back to with conditions, only for them to sell it for probably, when they sold it back to the state, they probably got 1/20th of what it's worth. They probably got like 1/20th of what it's worth. Let me see. Because Kendrick Lamar has got a house over there not too far from Bruce's Beach. Okay. He got 9.7. He spent, let me see here. He bought the property in Manhattan Beach for $9 million. That means probably right now we're probably worth like 12. Okay, so $9 million. This is Bruce's Beach. I don't know which, I'm not going to, I know which home is Kendrick's. I'm not going to point it out on here because I'm not going to put that man. Y'all got to find that shit yourself if y'all want to find it. But Kendrick Lamar basically bought a home right here on the Strand. One of these for $9 million. When you get back here, these houses, the further you go back, the less they become worth. These houses right here, probably worth in the $7 million range. Well, Bruce's Beach, if they kept their land, how many of those would they put? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 6. You can fit 6 $10 million homes just on this stretch. How much did... They sold it back to $20 million. The family of Bruce's Beach, and I'm not mad at them because they were in a catch-22. But they sold that home back. That all this land you see right here, this whole strip from the beach to up here, They sold that for $20 million. This whole plot. Mind you, Kendrick just bought a home, one of these homes, for $10 million. You can fit 6 of those homes on these plots. So that's 6 times 10 is 60 million. Just for the Strand alone, a developed property, you can sell those on the low end for $10 million each. That doesn't include, on this plot, they have 8 homes on this plot. Let's see. Let's go to Zillow. Not now. Let's go to Zillow and see how much these houses are going for. I'm just showing y'all the wealth. I'm just showing y'all the wealth amassed just on Bruce's Beach, because y'all about to get real mad. All right, cool. You got a house down the street from Bruce's Beach selling for $19.5 million on the Strand. So now you got a house selling for $19 million. Wow. Then you get a home over here for $9 million. One over here for $2 million, but that's further back. So we're talking about from 19 to 9, $25 million on the Strand. This is right down the street from Kendrick Lamar. This house selling for $25 million, $8 million, $6 million. You see, it's a dramatic drop off from the Strand to the houses further back. Do y'all see where I'm going with this? Look what they're saying that the values of these homes are. $2 million, $2 million, $3 million, $6 million, $7 million. And that's just the parking lot. Compared to, this is a side-by-side of Bruce's Beach. Let me go a bigger screen right here so y'all can see. This is side-by-side. $6 million, $4 million, $2 million. All $8 million, $6 million, $2 million, $3 million, $5 million. This is what the homes are going for over there, and they sold this whole plot back for $20 million. When we say that we need that, this is why we talk about having restorative justice. Restorative justice is to pay back what you took. See, now, unfortunately for today's broadcast, this is the best story you're going to find, because this is the only story where Black people got compensated. Now, I'm about to take you down further of what they did here in LA. Bruce's Beach was in 1925. Well, let me tell you about El Segundo Beach in Black Coney Island, 1921. Right here. In 1921, let me see if I can pull up some article for you. Right here in 1921, there were some Black folks that owned okay, here, let me pull up the links. I want y'all to see. I know Bruce Beach, the El Segundo Beach. Here we go. That's where I first saw it, KCET. KCET, you bitches, y'all pulled it down? Y'all scared? Y'all scared? Why y'all put it? Okay. See, that's why I be having a look. Let me give y'all a quick little tidbit of advice. When y'all see interesting stories, make sure you because I do this, but I lost a lot of my stuff. Oh, they took this one down too. I lost a lot of my stuff when my computer drive died a couple years ago. What y'all need to do is when y'all see these articles, take them down, like in print screen, and save them as PDF files. And I did that with these articles, but I lost a lot of that stuff when my computer died a couple years ago, and I didn't have it on my cloud at the time. Damn. I'm gonna show y'all what I'm talking about. This is the article. This is the article. This is the article. Damn. They put all the articles down. You punks. Well, let me just go off memory. Right here at El Segundo State Beach, there was supposed to be a black Coney Island here. They called it the black. This was called the Inkwell. This was a West Coast inkwell right here, okay? This was a West Coast inkwell. And in 1921, these black folks got permits to build a West Coast Coney Island. It was going to be a black-owned Coney Island, a black-owned beach Coney Island here on the West Coast. Well, what happened? What happened is these white folks in El Segundo, mind you, El Segundo is one of the most racist towns in California. This city also oftentimes gets voted one of the 3 most racist cities in all of California. Right here by LAX, when you take off right here at the beach, LAX, look down to your left, and you'll see what used to be the black inkwell. And when black people started building on this land, you know what they did? These El Segundo folks, they came and they burnt it down. They seized it. When they saw that we were about to build a Coney Island, they seized it. 1921. That was 4 years before Bruce's Beach. And that's why I don't feel nothing about these folks over here in El Segundo. You racist bastards. Y'all in between the LA shit factory and the LA airport. Look at how much shit that they surrounded in. These racist motherfuckers over here. Small ass houses. This is where all the shit in LA gets processed right here. This is the LA shit processing factory. This right here, this is the oil factory. This is the oil field. The shit factory is right here. This is Chevron. And this is the shit factory. All the shit in Southern California gets processed right here at the Hyperion plant. So they're in between a shit factory, an oil field, and a smog-laden airport. So F them. But they burnt this place down with no restitution. And what they did just in the last 15 years, Black LA, this was the beach where Black LA went to forever. My whole time I'm living here. Dockweiler was called, we called it Dockweiler, and the white folks that lived in Manhattan Beach, they called this ethnic beach. So 100 years ago, our black Coney Island gets burnt down, and 10 years ago, this is the park where black people like to hang out. This part was ethnically cleansed because what they did on this street, Vista Del Mar, this used to be parking on this street. You used to be able to park right here to go to the beach. What they did was to clear all the black people out, they put these cones here so that we couldn't park. And they made it no parking all up and down the street. Therefore, they basically rendered most of this beach useless because you couldn't park here anymore. But they only did that to this stretch of beach where the black people go to the beach. They didn't do that in El Segundo. They didn't do it in Manhattan Beach, not Redondo Beach, not Hermosa Beach, not Venice Beach, not Santa Monica Beach, not Marina Del Rey. All of those beaches where other folks go to, they can still park right at the beach and walk to it. There's only one beach in California, in LA, that they stopped you from parking without having to pay for parking. And this is the only beach that they shut down parking on the street. And they did that about 10 years ago. So it's an active process of ethnic cleansing. This is where all the bonfires are, and this is where you come, and there still be black folks kicking in here, it still do. But you come here in the summertime, bonfire time, nigga, what? This beach be cracking. But not only did they do that here, do y'all know that this part of LAX, right here, smack dab in the middle, this here was also a black neighborhood? Yes, this was a black neighborhood because black people, you got to understand that the beaches here in California were not really habitable. All of this land you see right here is swamp. LA's a swamp. That's why you have a street over here called La Cienega. La Cienega. Y'all see this street, La Cienega? La Cienega is Spanish for the swamp. All of this land was swamp. You see here, the Bologna Wetlands Ecological Reserve. This is the last piece of strip that's natural. This swampy land that you see right here, this used to be all of this area. So they made the black people in the late 1800s, early 1900s. A lot of black people lived over here on the beach. And it was black folks that tamed the swamp. It was black folks that tamed the beach. And once we tamed the beach, once we tamed the swamp, they kicked us out. LAX is also built on top of gentrified land that was taken, a beautiful black neighborhood that was taken in the 1930s and 40s. But it don't stop there. Just in the last 20 years, this used to be a black neighborhood in Westchester. Right here, you see where it's empty, this barren land? This parking lot you see right here? This used to be a neighborhood where people lived. Right here. They're now building all this stuff around it. This used to be a black neighborhood over here in Westchester. Over here off Aviation. You see all this empty land? Black folks used to live up in here. A lot of black people that went to Westchester High School, my high school, lived in here. And they were saying LAX expansion. So this black neighborhood that was right here up on LAX, it was a dope black neighborhood too, real quiet black neighborhood. A lot of black folks lived up in here. And if you went to Westchester High School, a lot of the black folks that went to Westchester High lived up in this area. And they all got moved out about 20 years ago. About the mid 2000s, they cleared all these niggas out that lived up in here. And they just started building on this land in the last, 5 years? Before 5 years ago, all this shit was this was still barren land up until the pandemic. Right after the pandemic when they started building on it. But that was a black neighborhood as recently as when I was in high school. As recently as when I was in high school, this was a black neighborhood. Mind you, Westchester is mostly a white neighborhood. This was the only part that was black, by the way. Every other part of Westchester is white. This was the only part of Westchester that was black. But it don't stop there. We go on down here to Santa Monica. And there's a place here called the Viceroy Hotel. Let's see if I can pick it. Let's see if I can eyeball it. Let's see if I can eyeball it. Yep, this is it. The Viceroy Hotel. Is it still called the Viceroy? But right here on Ocean Drive, this, let me just make sure. Yeah, I was right. This here was also a black owned spot. It was a black beach club, a place for black folks to commune and get together. This was also taken by eminent domain. And the black family that used to have it, I found that they're in a legal suit right now. They're in the middle of a lawsuit to get compensated for this land being taken from them. This here was also taken and is now called the Viceroy Hotel if you're ever in Santa Monica. So you see how they did it before. They did it before through eminent domain, through highway acts. Now the same thing is being done through just through a soft gentrification right in front of our face. But it don't stop there. Y'all never heard all this unless you watched this show before. Y'all see, look, everybody know about the Highway Act and how this area here was taken out because of the Highway Act. And this is where my dad was raised, and this is where I was as a kid. This is the funeral home that buried my grandmama and my granddad. But this also used to be the home of Malcolm X. Malcolm X's mosque used to be right here. And in 1961, it got shot up so bad that my dad said, because my dad said they happened to be in Texas. My dad lived right down the street. My dad was raised right over here on 58th. My dad said they were just on family vacation in Dallas when this got shot up. But he said when he got back, it was so bad that the bullets went through to, this is a new house, but the house that used to be here, they shot Malcolm X's mosque up so bad that the bullets went through this wall and into this house back here. That's how bad they shot it up. Also in LA, this here, on the corner right here, where there used to be a club right here. The first marijuana arrest in American history happened right here when Louis Armstrong, father of American music, the father of American music, let me say it again, the father of American music, Satchmo, Louis Armstrong, was arrested for smoking weed right here on this corner, right here. The first arrest in American history for smoking weed happened right here on this corner to the father of American music. Okay? And when you go down here a little bit further on, this 54 ballroom, this spot up top, is where James Brown used to frequent. When Motown would come to LA in the early days, the Temptations, the Four Tops, they would play here. The Supremes, the Motown Review, when they would come to LA. Early days of Motown. We're talking about the early days of Motown. We're talking about Miles Davis, Louis Armstrong, all these people, the 54 ballroom. Well, all this was destroyed when the 110 freeway was built, destroying all that. We know about that. When the 10 was built, it destroyed black neighborhoods all through here. And this is the infamous 9th district that for the first time in its history doesn't have a black person on the city council. But what they don't tell you about is China, is Little Tokyo. There's a spot over here called Little Tokyo. This area. This area during World War II, black people moved in and created, when Japanese got put in internment camps, black people who already lived all throughout this area moved into Little Tokyo. I'm sorry, Little Tokyo's up here. This is Little Tokyo. I was at 10. Look, they moved into Little Tokyo. And black people expanded Little Tokyo. They call it Little Tokyo now. It was called something else back then. Built successful businesses, had major. This was a black Wall Street. That when the internment camps were over with, when the Japanese people were allowed to come back home, the white folks who moved in here, they got to keep everything. They got to keep the houses, They got to keep the businesses. They allowed the white people to come in and just take all those Japanese people's shit. Black people didn't take anything. We bought our buildings. We bought everything. And we had to let it all go. When the Japanese returned, black people had to let it all go. And then only for in 1988, only for those same Japanese people to get reparations in 1988, after we had to give up what we built up over here. We are giving you guys American Black history as seen through Los Angeles, California, because all of y'all got similar stories in your city, and you need to go through your city and find these stories. All this was black. They took that. So you see here that when it comes to how these people treat us, and now you see how LA is such a militant fight back town. They had to say, you know, we're going to get you niggas up out of here because y'all fight back too much. Because they always fucking with us from every direction. And it's happening in your town too. So yeah, we have to expand the conversation beyond picking cotton and Jim Crow. Picking cotton and Jim Crow need to stay a part of the conversation. It needs to stay a part of the conversation, but it should no longer dominate the conversation. Because everybody was slaves, like Elon Musk says, right? All right. But everybody didn't get their land taken through eminent domain consistently, not just through the Highway Act. What I gave you guys examples of was before and after the Highway Act. I only gave you one Highway Act example. Y'all notice that? I only gave you one example using the Highway Act. Only one. And your city got a similar story. So you need to find these stories in your city. It's all local. You follow your genealogy when it comes to who you are and what your occupation was. Were you slave? Were you not slave? Were you some here, some there? How many? You find out the family members in your family lineage that got businesses that was taken through eminent domain. Look up your genealogy, your family history, and the city and the history of your city. And the history of whatever towns your family comes from. I've been looking up all kind of stuff, man. My family was in Adams County, Mississippi, looking up something that's been going on there. My family was all through Texas, man. Overton, Texas, outside of Waco, New London. Oh my God. And I'm finding they did some dope shit all throughout Oklahoma. You look up your family genealogy, your family history. You look up your city. And make sure that you hit the like button, y'all, and share. And let me know if you learned something today. Hit the Cash App, $DewanB1. If you learned something today, hit the Cash App. Also, New Music University classes coming this coming Sunday on Patreon. This week I'm going to work on the new Patreon tier where I will be teaching cards. For those of you who want to learn how to read cards, we'll be doing it on a monthly subscription basis. If you learn how to read cards, we're gonna be doing that. So that tier is going to be coming this week in Cincinnati. Also, go over to Incense and Ashtrays right now. I have my video on Cool Herc being the Christopher Columbus of hip hop. Incense and Ashtrays is active now, so y'all need to go ahead and stop fucking around. I know I just put a few videos up here and there. Now Incense and Ashtrays, we moving, we working, we going. So it's in the description. Follow and subscribe right now while I'm talking. Do it right now while I'm talking. Incense and Ashtrays. If you're not subscribed, go subscribe now. My interview with DJ Battlecat is going to go up over there on that channel. Patreon, you'll see it first. You'll see it first on Patreon, but we're going to start putting up some clips in the next few days of the Battlecat interview, and then we're going to drop the full interview over there on Incense and Ashtrays. But we're gonna put some we're gonna put some up first. Boris Coley, I appreciate the cash app. Ron Stoughton, I appreciate the cash app. Nada, I appreciate the super chat. Yeah, appreciate that. We got to understand that each one of our. This is why I want to get Boris. I appreciate the cash app. This is why I want to. This is why I always talk about us ending the regional beefing. Because one thing I am here about, I see that is we as Black Americans, we're targeted on all fronts. It happens in slightly different ways, but it happens all over. And one thing I hear about all the time, and I hear this a lot, I still hear it to this day. Oh man, you in California, you don't really know what racism is about. No, you're not in California, so you don't know what the fuck racism is about when it comes to here. We all deal with racism. We all deal with white supremacy in different forms. But it still comes back to the same root. And we can learn from each other. One city, one region, one town, one coast is not better than the other. None of us are better than all of us is fucked up right now. So we ain't got we really don't have the standing to brag about who's better when we all sitting on the bottom of a slave ship. All right. We ain't got space to be sitting around talking about whose prison guard is better than whose prison guard, or which goddamn, what do you call those people? Which prison warden is better than the other prison warden? Ain't none of these prison warden shit. That's what we got to be with it. And as much as we love our city, our state, our town, we ain't got time to be thinking that one black person is better off than the other. I get people coming in all the time talking about some. Well, I don't know why. Why don't you leave LA? That's nothing I get. You should just go ahead and leave LA. Why would I flee this weather? Why would I leave this systematic racism to join and move somewhere else that's systematically racist? Right? Why would I leave this? I've already seen this city go from black to brown, now to Asian. Why would I move to see your city go from black to Asian to brown? Why would I do that? Why would I want to see it twice? It's gonna happen to you, nigga. We just gotta be of the mindset of that, no, there's nowhere to run. We're gonna have to confront the systematic white supremacy. We're going to confront this gentrification. We're going to have to confront this at some point. Us being shuffled around and moved around the land. This was going down during slavery, before slavery, after slavery. This happened during Reconstruction, we thought. After Reconstruction. What do you think the Great Migration was? The Great Migration was a form of gentrification. But with all that being said, all these problems that we got going on in America, we still dealing with like what Gil Scott-Heron said. We dealing with these problems, but guess what? I heard Gil Scott-Heron, the original rapper. All this shit going on, but Whitey's on the moon. All this shit going on, gentrification, but Whitey's on the moon. Niggas can't pay their car note on time, but Whitey's on the moon. Got GMO food, but Whitey's on the moon. Can't catch a break. Rising gas costs, $6 gas, but Whitey's on the moon. Gil Scott-Heron, boy. That song's 60 years old. 65, a little older than 50 years. That came out in 1970. All this shit going on, but Whitey's on the moon. So you're going to have to figure this shit out wherever you are. I ain't about. So if just say I moved to Dallas, which if I left LA, it would either be Houston or Dallas. Just say if I move, but I go to Dallas, and when I go to my family land in Dallas, in South Dallas, I got white people living on my family's block. I'm used to I'm not used to not even seeing white folks when I go to Dallas. So I stay in South Dallas, I stay in Lancaster, I stay over in Oak Cliff, I stay in DeSoto. That's where my family is. My family is DeSoto, Oak Cliff, Lancaster, South Dallas. Now, last time I went, they all through South Dallas. So what am I going to leave LA just to go back to my family, land in South Dallas and deal with the same shit? Fuck out of here. Staying right here. Yeah, Funky Homo sapien, I do believe Black LA was still here. They're not going to get rid of all of us. They're not going to get rid of all of us. We're just going to be dispersed. We're just going to be dispersed all throughout this land. They're not going to get rid of all of us, though. No. So, what's up, Netta J? Coming up here right as I'm about to sign off. Everybody, say what's up to Netta J. Coming in at her usual time with 60 seconds left. Salute. Yeah, South Dallas dealing with gentrification. Like, if I left LA, the two places that impressed me that I would leave LA for would be Dallas. It would be Dallas, Houston, or DC. And DC's getting gentrified. I love DC. But when I was in DC last time, that shit getting gentrified like a motherfucker. See, I gotta realize I'm a South Central, I'm a down home South Central guy. If I move to another city, I'm moving to the city. I ain't moving to nobody's outskirts. If I move to Houston, I'm moving to 3rd Ward. If I move to Dallas, I'm moving to South Dallas. The furthest I'd go is DeSoto. I wouldn't go anywhere past DeSoto if I moved to Dallas. Wherever I gotta be in the city, man. I don't like outer loop shit. I like being in the city. Yeah, DC been gentrified. Yeah, like if I love DC too. Like Philly, yep. So nah, I ain't about to leave LA just to deal with the same shit wherever I move to. Fuck out of here. We got to understand this. Gentrification is the plan. That's part of how white supremacy works. Neely Fuller talks about this. Keep them moving. We got to remember, in the 1800s, when we were building successful towns in Philadelphia, Cincinnati, Detroit, they burnt us up out of there. We were in these major cities in the early 1800s. Those Jacksonian rebellions, 1837, 1839, 1827, 1831. Black people got pushed out of those big cities, and that pushed us more into those smaller towns. We remember a black man founded Chicago. At the beginnings of these cities, black people were there. Black people were there at the beginning of LA. There are black folks that helped found LA. We were at the beginnings of all these cities. It was around the 1820s, the 1830s that we were pushed out of these major cities through getting basically burnt up out of it. Government-sponsored terrorism. That pushed us into the small towns. That's when we built Mound Bayou. That's when we built like these little small town, Thomasville, Alabama, and Overton, Texas. And we built these small towns because remember, it was still free people in the South too. There were still free black towns in the South. We made these rural communities, my family in Roberts, Indiana. That's how we were in these small cities. And then when the Industrial Revolution hit and factory jobs became a thing, and we went from a farming society to an industrial society, that's what got black people moving back into the cities, the economy. When we went from a farming society to an industrial society, that's when black folks started moving into New Orleans, into Memphis, in the post-slavery industrial age. We started moving into the big cities in the South, and then we started back going up to the North. We were in the North before, never left the North, always in the North. Since there's been a North, since there's been a Midwest, black people have been there. But when the jobs came through the North, we moved to the North because of the job situation. Only for them to take those jobs, send them back overseas, and a lot of black people started moving back from the North, back down to the South, back from LA, back to the South. But there were black people here in LA in the 1890s, 1870s, 1850s. We've been shuffled around this country, going back to the times during slavery. So many millions of black people were shuffled from the Virginia, Carolina region to Mississippi, to Louisiana, to Arkansas, to Georgia. From the North. We've always been moved around because we have a very special connection to this land. Somebody going to sit and stay and figure it out. Somebody going to figure it out where they stand. All right. But I got a meeting to get ready for y'all. We'll probably do a late night live tonight. Go to Brand Family Tree, go to Incense and Ashtrays. And Dr. Short. We're going to have Dr. Short on Patreon. I forgot to say it. Patreon. We're going to have Dr. Short at 5 o'clock Western time. We're going to talk to Dr. Randy Short today at 5 p.m. Pacific time about what's going on in Iran. So we're going to talk about Iran on Patreon with Dr. Short, all right? We're doing it on Dr. Short so we can really get into what's happening, all right? You say your family's in Maryland in the 1760s? Hey, ADL, I got family. I saw records of my family in Prince George's County in 1670. My family was in PG County in the 1670s. They were in PG County. That's probably why when I go to DC, when I go to that area, I feel like home. I didn't when I first went to DC and Maryland, I didn't know that about my family, but it felt familiar. Then I went back, I was like, oh, that's why it felt familiar. My family was in PG County, And it was called Prince George's County back then. They were in PG County in the 1600s. But yeah, Dr. Short at 5 p.m. Pacific time. All right, y'all. We out.